Hi, everyone. Hope everyone had a great Wednesday. Today, we have obviously bad news from Core Scientific. So we'll take a look at that, the bankruptcy, what it all means for regular investors. And then we'll also take a look at Cleanspark that reported getting 2.6 exahash. So that's great news. So we got bad versus good, bankruptcy versus growth. We'll take a look at all of that. And then we got markets. Markets were up today. Bitcoin and Ethereum were actually down today. We'll also take a look at that. And then miners. Core Scientific, DMG, Hive, and Marathon were all down today to their new 52-week lows. Obviously, Core is kind of expected to be down because of what they reported today with the bankruptcy. But we'll look at it all and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it all. So as always, you guys know this is not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm investing in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And let's take a look at the markets here really quick. Also, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. Okay, so here's the market. Markets were up today. So S&P was up 1.49% to 3,878. Dow Jones was up 1.6% to 33,376. And NASDAQ was up 1.48% to 11,235. So finally, we had a nice day where all the markets were up except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So looking at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin was down today roughly 0.42%. So it wasn't down too bad. It closed at 16,826. We had a low of 16,725 and a high of 16,926. We're still kind of stuck in this kind of range here. I mean, towards the bottom range of it here at the 16,800 mark. We were a little bit lower before. I mean, we're just kind of stuck in this no man's land right now where we really don't have a direction whether we want to go up or down on it. And it could be because we're getting close to the holidays. People are just not investing as much as they were before. And it could be just some loss taken as well for the end of the year. Okay, so if we look at the 4-hour chart, we also have it at, right now, the RSI is at 48. It has been coming down, but so has the price here in the last 2 days or so. We can see it here. The price has been coming down, and so has the RSI on it. Last time we were right here was back here. We were possibly higher on price, so it's still looking a little bit more bearish on the 4-hour chart. 1-hour chart, we can see here, price has been kind of flat here from the peak, and RSI has been coming down. So that might lead to a little bit of a rally here, but we'll see. Okay, Ethereum, same thing. Price has been kind of flat. RSI has been coming down. That gives us a little bit more strength to possibly go up. We'll see if we get a reversal on it as well, along with Bitcoin. And then we can see here that price on Ethereum is a little bit different. It's been holding kind of level here for a while, but the RSI has been coming down a little bit. So we might see a little bit of a pop, but who knows? We'll see what it all goes down later on this week. Okay, let's take a look at the miners here. Annie was up 0.77% today to 31 cents. Argo was down 5.66% to 3.5 cents. BitDigital was up 2.29% to 58 cents. Bitfarms was down 2.75% to 43 cents. Cleanspark was up nicely to 9.42% to $2.09. Cores was way down to down 75.53% to 5 cents now. DigiHost was down 1.14% to 42 cents. DMG down 6.11% to 12 cents. Greenidge was down 7.24% to 27 cents, almost 28 cents. Hive was down 2.26% to $1.73. Hive also, as we know, did a reverse split for 5. So we divided by 5. What do we get? We're like at 30-some cents right now on the old price. Last time, Hive went down to 8 cents before things started to go back up. Hopefully that's not the case this time around. So if it was at 8 cents, we would be times 5. What would that be? We'd have to go down to like 40 cents for the market to be at the bottom, potentially, if we look at historical times. Hut 8 was actually up today 3.21% to 90 cents. Iris Energy was down 4.29% to $1.34. Luxfolio was flat. I don't even know if that one's even trading at all. Might have some volume on it, but it seems like it's pretty much died out. Let's see if we get any volume. Volume, 959 shares. Not a lot going on in Luxfolio. Marathon was down 6.65% to $3.65. Mawson was down 13.28% to 25 cents. Riot was flat, $3.83. Soluna was up today, 31.57% to 40 cents. So looks like investors have digested the news that they're getting more miners installed, and they seem to like it today. Stronghold was up 2.27% to 45 cents, and TeraWolf was up 1.55% to 58 cents, almost 59, and that is it on that. Okay, let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick as well. It is down to 238 million right now on the 7-day average. Look at the 1 day. It's up a little bit here to 251 million right now. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well, see what happens there. So that's the markets, miners, Bitcoin, Ethereum. We got it all covered. Let's take a look at our first story here, which is on Course. So Course Scientific announces comprehensive restructuring transaction. I guess you could call filing Chapter 11 a transaction. Okay. So voluntarily files for reorganization under Chapter 11. Down here, we can see the nice details that provided. So during this process and upon emergence, the company will continue to operate its existing self-mining and hosting operations, which remain significantly cash flow positive on a debt-free basis. So if they didn't have any debt, they would be cash flow positive. If they have a lot of debt, they are not cash flow positive. Hence, we're going into Chapter 11 bankruptcy on this for restructuring. So the company is committed to operating normally during the implementation of its restructuring. The company remains dedicated to providing hosting services and self-mining in its state-of-the-art data centers. Okay, this is just my 2 cents on this. They have not been profitable on hosting for the last at least 2 quarters, potentially longer. They were selling a lot of miners to their hosting providers or hosting customers. That made up for the abysmal, you could say, revenue from hosting. So with that being said, we know that they're not anywhere near getting to 15, 20% profit on those, at least not yet. I would, part of this restructuring, get rid of hosting completely. And I don't know if there's any benefit to it other than the customers that provide some revenue, but to me, it seems like a wash. It seems like a negative for them. They should just concentrate on their own self-mining, but that's just my opinion on that one. Okay. In connection with the restructuring support agreement, the ad hoc note holder group has agreed to provide commitments for a debtor in possession facility, the DIP facility, don't know what that is, first time I'm hearing of that, of up to $56 million, and has agreed to support the syndication of up to an additional $19 million in new money DIP facility loans to allow to all holders of convertible notes. These funds, along with ongoing cash generated from operations, are anticipated to provide the necessary financing to effectuate the planned restructuring, facilitate the emergence from Chapter 11, and cover the fees and expenses of legal and financial advisors. Okay. They still have a lot of debt on their books. I'm guessing that's going to be restructured. Don't know how it's going to be restructured, so we'll have to find out from that when it does happen. But it seems like $56 million and $19 million is not that much. I don't know how they're going to do that with debt. Are they just going to write it off? But yeah, I'm not a bankruptcy attorney or anything like that. I don't know how any of that stuff works, other than I know you work with your creditors on that. Continuing on here, the restructuring support agreement will be subject to a fiduciary out for the company to pursue better alternatives. As contemplated, the restructuring will reduce the company's funded indebtedness by hundreds of millions of dollars and reduce annual interest expense by tens of millions of dollars. So I guess you're not going to be paying those debts. Don't know. If you guys have any insight into this or have more knowledge on this type of thing, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Pursuant to the contemplated restructuring support agreement, the company's existing convertible note holders will equitize their debt into a significant majority of the common stock of the reorganized company. So we're going to have a lot of dilution. In addition, holders of general unsecured claims and existing common shareholders would also receive meaningful recoveries in the form of reorganized common stock and warrants exercisable for a significant portion of the common stock of the reorganized enterprise upon obtaining certain valuation thresholds. Okay, so it looks like not everything is bad for the ones that are still holding on to the shares, I guess. Majority have already sold out, it seems. Those that are holding on to it will get at least something. Don't know how much, but it will provide something. And maybe in a couple of years, if they do get out of this and actually turn the tide and start generating some good revenue and they're out of debt, that might lead to possibly making what you lost. But I don't know. Something to keep in mind, though. Both the common stock and the warrants will enable stakeholders to capture a share of the company's future growth. So there you go. A portion, right? They're saying capture a share of the company. So I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to capture, but you're going to be getting something at least. The filing of these cases was necessitated by a decline in the company's operating performance and liquidity, suffering from the prolonged decrease in the price of Bitcoin, the increase in electricity costs necessary to power the company's data centers, and the failure by certain of its hosting customers to honor their payments obligations. So they're calling out Celsius on this one, which we know that they haven't, I guess, paid them yet for what they were owed. So that led to it, which that was still only, a couple $1 million at most. That was part of their downfall, but it wasn't, I don't think, the whole contributing factor of it all. In response to these factors, the company has actively taken steps to decrease monthly costs, delay construction expenses, reduce and delay capital expenditures, and increase hosting profitability. We didn't see that much of an increase from Q2 to Q3. It will be interesting to see what we get from Q4 on it. They were still, I believe, well, we'll take a look at the numbers here. We'll see where that's coming out at. But I think that was still in the negative, but we'll take a look at it. The company extensively explored potential financing alternatives and actively negotiated with various stakeholders in consultation with its advisors. The special committee of the board of directors and of the company determined that the restructuring contemplated by the restructuring support agreement represents the optimal path forward and best positions the company for long-term success. Yeah, I mean, if they can get rid of their debt, yes, that will definitely help them out. But their biggest possible mistake was buying all of these miners at a much, much higher cost at the peak of almost Bitcoin being at 69,000, which at that point they were paying $100 per terahash on some of these miners. And that's if they didn't have any price guarantees on the miners when price goes down with Bitcoin. If they had that, I can't remember if they did or didn't. As I cover too many miners, I just can't remember all the little details on all these miners. So if you guys know anything on that, please comment down below. Okay, so let's take a look at what we had for them. Let's take a look at Core here really quick. We had them, let's see here, debt to equity was 18.22 in Q3. It was 3.4. We could see a rise here. I mean, we had a significant rise here in Q3. Current ratio also kept falling, and it fell pretty low here in Q3 as well, down to 0.165. Now, assets, let me see, current liabilities. So, notes payable, current portion was 977 million. Total current liabilities was 1.289 billion. They had total current assets of 213 million. No way you're getting out of that without Bitcoin going to the moon here and fast, like 250,000. Well, probably not that high, but you know what I mean. Revenues have also been increasing. They have done a tremendous job growing, but the debt is just what basically killed them on us, unfortunately. Let me see your hosting revenue. Cost of hosting was 44,975. Their profit margin on hosting was still negative 0.1%. I mean, it was better than the Q2 number of negative 12%, but still was negative on here. They had hosting revenue from related parties, so they had about 45. I mean, it was pretty close to a tie here, if a slight revenue gain on it. Okay, so that's kind of what we looked at. We have been talking about them being in a pretty rough shape when it comes to their financing here. Let's take a look at it. I think it was over here. Core Scientific from Q2 even. We had, let me see here, where is Core Scientific? We had current assets minus total liabilities, 917 million in the hole. They were the biggest one, followed by Marathon here. If we look at Marathon now, Marathon's down 610. So that actually increased by 122 million. And then we also have, which one was it over here? Core. Core went up $200 million to 1.117 billion. Okay, so we saw this. We also saw potentially Greenidge. Greenidge is also now saying that they might be going into bankruptcy if they can't get things resolved. Who else do we have here that might be in trouble right now? Soluna is a little bit of in trouble. Greenidge we had. Marathon's pretty high up there, but they do have a pretty good balance sheet as far as Bitcoin HODL still is concerned. Mawson might be another one that's kind of high up there. Bitfarms has been getting better. They have improved that by 2 million, so that's good there. And who else? Argo. Argo was under as well. So the ones in the red with a lot of debt are the ones that we want to keep an eye on, kind of worried about. So we've had Greenidge report they might be going to bankruptcy. Now we have Core report they are going into bankruptcy. So we'll see who else falls. I'm thinking Argo might be next. After that, we'll have to keep an eye on potentially. I don't want to. I would say probably Soluna would be the next one, possibly, and then Mawson also as well. So those are the ones to keep an eye on. Okay. So that's the bad news there. Like I said, they just grew too fast at a wrong time. I think the timing, one thing that I've learned from a very, very small operation that I manage is timing is everything. If you can get in at the right time, especially in the bear market, when things are really, really low in price, you're going to do so much better when you eventually get out of that bear market and get into a bull run. And we saw quite a few of these miners were buying heavily in the bull run. So it's a lesson learned. It's a hard lesson that we learned as well. But we didn't have over $1 billion. So I'll leave it at that. Hopefully they can restructure the debt, get out of it through the bankruptcy chapter 11, and come up better on the other side when that happens. Okay, so I wish all you guys luck. My dad is still holding shares. They're probably worth, what, 5 pennies on the dollar right now, I think, something like that, if not less. So the plan there is he's just going to hold on to it, see what happens, see how they get out of the restructuring, and then maybe in a couple of years, it might be worth the amount that he actually put into it, if not maybe more. Fingers crossed. Okay. So that was the bad news, unfortunately. Let's take a look at some good news. I've been trying to kind of mix it up here, trying to find some good news and some bad news. We'll start off with the bad. We'll go into the good news. So the good news is here, Cleanspark surpasses revised year-end hash rate of 6 exahash. They were saying originally they were going to get to 5, then to 5.5, then they said to 6. So they have, at least this year, I can't say this whole time, but they have this year done really well operationally, where they reported they're going to be to at 5 exahash or something like that, and they have beat it not once but twice now by going to 6 exahash. Now next year they want to get to 16 exahash, which is a decrease from where they wanted to go to 22, but that is because of Lancium, I believe, is the company that's going to be doing the hosting for them. Their co-location for the miners that they want to get to 22, they're having some issues financially as well a little bit. So they're cutting that estimate down to 16 now. But if the way they perform this year, I expect them to perform the same way next year, possibly beating that. Even if they beat it by a little bit, still a beat. But I think they're going to possibly do that. Okay, so here, today announced its Bitcoin mining hash rate has reached 6 exahash, a 3-fold increase in just 1 year, which is great. They started out at 2. As we said in our earnings call last week, we expected to hit 6 exahash before year's end, and today we are pleased to announce that we have, said Zach Bradford, CEO. This achievement is part due to some of the machines that we were hosting for Mawson being moved out earlier than anticipated. Of course, that only tells a portion of the story. The real achievement here is the tremendous work being done by our operational teams who continue to rack machines even in Georgia's currently frigid temperatures, which is also true. So congrats to the team there. They've done a fantastic job this year getting a lot of miners installed. They installed, what is it, probably close to, if they were 2, probably close to 40,000 machines in this year, which is a great job by their part. I know how time-consuming it can be to install those ant miners and everything else. So congrats to them on there. Let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them really quick right now, where we are. So right now we have them at 6 exahash. I do have enough miners here for them reported of being bought to get them to 7 exahash. We'll see how much they get installed in the first quarter of 2023, which I think is going to be their second quarter, I think. I think right now they're in the first quarter. But we installed these miners here. Let's see here, where are they? In December, the 5,000 of these 100 terahash miners. I don't think these 140 terahash miners came in yet. I haven't heard any reports, but they might have. So we still have some miners here that need to get installed, 4,190, along with these 3,843. So there's still some growth left, and that got us to the 600 petahash, or 6,000 petahash, which is 6 exahash right now. And if they mine for the full month of December, we're looking at possibly around 11.2 million, which would be a nice increase from the 9 million that they had in November. We also have one more extra day here in December than we did in November, and then they were in October, 10.4. That would get us to a potential 31 million for the quarter, which would be an increase here from September, which would be nice, depending on where Bitcoin ends up this month. We'll have to see on that one. Right now, with their growth and the way that they're continuing to grow, we're looking at, and I should have updated the stock price. The stock price is 209 right now. I'll do that in a minute here, but I will get this updated before I post it to my Patreon members. I forgot to do this. And right now we're kind of looking at between if Bitcoin starts going back up, we're looking at $18.22 to $27.34 on the high end. It's kind of where I'm looking at the stock right now. Okay. Let me know what you guys think of this on Cleanspark and Core. And we'll see what else happens this week. It's been surprisingly, we've had bad and good reports coming out. Yesterday we had Sphere 3D providing some good numbers and finally getting miners installed. And then we had Greenidge provide they might be going to bankruptcy. So it's been kind of yin yang this week. We only have a couple more days left. I don't even know if we're trading on Friday or not before the holiday. We might be trading for half a day or something like that. So we'll see. But we got a couple more days in this week. And yeah, that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out. And Spreadsheet, as always, is available to my Patreon members there. Thank you for everyone there for their support. Thank you so much for watching here. Love you all. I wish you guys a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.